You are listening to NSR, National Scrubs Radio, where nurses, doctors, students, and other healthcare professionals bring you stories from scrubs across the nation. Tune in today with NSR's Derek J.
Hey, welcome to NSR, that's National Scrubs Radio. My name is Derek J, your host for today. And what I've learned from working in the healthcare arena, whether you're a doctor, nurse, speech pathologist, it doesn't even matter, that everyone has a story, and I want to hear yours. So my guest for today came right out of the gate, ready for this podcast. Her name is Jessica. She's an RN. She's married to Ginger Mike. If you recall from our last episode of the podcast here at NSR, we have Ginger Mike on the show. They are a married couple that have done the travel nursing lifestyle together. So I explore with Jessica a little bit about her life with Ginger Mike, also her struggles within nursing, some of the advice that her family told her about healthcare and getting into nursing in itself. And she thought I was holding back, or at least not asking tough enough questions. You'll see what I'm talking about. Here we go.
Well, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I'm ready.
That was Jessica singing into the mic just now. Welcome to NSR. This is Jessica. She is her own person, but she's also the wife of Ginger Mike that we recorded on our last episode. Welcome to the show. Jessica, how are you?
I am so great and fantastic.
You sound like you're singing into the mic and you didn't know I was even hitting the record button yet.
I just, sometimes singing is so fun.
Yeah?
Yeah. Everyone should sing.
Everyone, huh?
And dance.
Well, everyone but the people that audition for American Idol, I feel like.
They should still do it.
Yeah?
Totally. Oh, yes.
Or at least don't audition, but you can still sing, right?
With me, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So you were wanting to share something about your first suppository story, is that right? Now, by the way, I'm not sure if Mike knows that we're recording right now. Does he know that we're recording?
I think he does by now.
He does by now? Okay. I was hoping to get some dirt, but anyways, talking about dirt, let's go back to your first suppository story. Go ahead.
Well, let's see. I was 21. So for me, I was from a very small town. So 21 sounds old to you older people.
Yeah.
But to me, that was very young.
Right.
He was like 92 World War II veteran.
So you really had to describe like your age for the suppository.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I was so naive. Oh my gosh, yes. So when I gave it, I don't even know why I gave it. What the fuck did I give it for? I don't remember. Maybe it was a small bowel obstruction. I don't know.
Well, at least you're being honest. Yeah. Yeah.
I know.
So what happened?
What happens is you get me honest, you get me without a screen, and then I don't have a filter.
Well, I don't want you to have a filter. This is about where you can be yourself on the mic. Yeah.
So anyways, I don't know if I should say this.
Okay.
Because I was so young and I didn't understand anything. Homosexuality, I didn't understand anything.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I was very young for my age.
Right.
And so I gave it, and his anal sphincter contracted against my finger.
So it was like a Chinese finger trap?
Yes.
Okay.
Very good analogy, but yes,
it like clamped down.
Completely clamped down. On a 92-year-old little tiny 100-pound guy, World War II veteran. I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Right.
And at that moment, because it was like a Chinese
finger trap,
yeah. I was like,
it's like someone's gumming you, kind of,
Yes, because I was like, I understand it. I mean, because it may have only been like 2 seconds.
Right.
But that 2 seconds made me understand everything.
Got it.
It really did.
But that's how you get, like, you have to have that experience to understand.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So how did it prepare you for the rest of nursing? Like how did it prepare you? Because I mean, I feel like everyone has that first story where it's like, okay, this is real. I'm really a nurse. Like I have to deal with every orifice now. Like you have to deal with like all body parts, functions, and everything.
The anus on a virgin anus, on a virgin anus.
Right.
So now I do a lot of same day and PACU. And I also have to deal with a lot of virgin anuses.
Okay.
And so now it's like,
what's a virgin anus?
it's a heterosexual male
Okay.
that has to get a suppository for a reason they do not want.
Okay. I got you.
So, like the ones I have to give now are aspirin suppositories for enderectomies.
Okay.
And we have to do it.
And they're kind of like shy about it. Like,
always.
Yeah.
And you don't. And I work in Indiana, so
Okay.
they never want to like talk about it.
Right.
So we literally like I have to give them for these. And then when the family comes in the room before their surgery, I have to be like, okay, he's ready. Like they don't even want to talk about what just happened.
It's kind of like the taboo. Like we don't talk about suppositories in this family. In this household, we don't talk about it. Yes,
exactly.
Yeah. I have an interesting story about that too, because I remember when I was a new nurse or semi-new, and I never in nursing school I had to give a suppository or do any enemas, and I was like, well, we don't do that in nursing. I was kind of like sheltered like in my clinical experience as far as being in nursing school, and I went like I had struggle getting this bad boy in, and I'm trying to find like the source. Right?
Was it just an enema or was it suppository?
I like to call them magic bullets.
Okay. So what's
so
suppository?
I'm really working. I'm really trying to find like where to put it in. I had no idea. To be honest with you, the patient was super hairy. Okay, I had to be honest. Like people are more hairy than others. It is what it is. But I was trying to find and their person was laying on their left side, and I think I see where I should be going, right? So I am attempting.
And you're a male nurse, so people just feel like
it's even double whammy.
Yes,
there's a lot.
I agree.
And it depends if it's a male or female. Especially young females. I feel like young females are definitely more shy as a male nurse.
Oh my
God,
God,
I totally get that. And I think like. And I always ask, hey, would you rather have a female, right? You know what I mean? Like,
and that's good. You don't want a sexual harassment suit.
No. But also, I'm always thinking about what the patient is thinking about too. Like, what would make them feel more comfortable?
Yeah.
So, anyways, going back to my story, I'm trying to find where do I go with this thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I find it. I think I do.
Through all the hair.
I'm struggling. I'm like shaking to get this thing in. I'm like my forearm is getting weak, And I finally think I find the spot, and all of a sudden, in one like split second, my finger goes right in. Like it's just now I'm in the rectum, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of different terms for it, right? Anus, rectum. It doesn't matter.
Butthole.
I'm in there. You can keep going if you want.
I don't know that I have more. Asshole.
And all of a sudden, the patient goes. The patient farted so hard on my finger, right? that the hair on my arm moved, and instantly I wanted to take a bath and hand sanitizer.
Did you get to take a bath or shower eventually?
No, but I literally like squeezed the hand sanitizer on the wall like maybe 20 times and just slathered in it, But
you had a personal hug.
That was my suppository like initiation. You know what I mean? Like in nursing.
Mine wasn't that bad. It was just that contraction around my finger.
It shocked you.
It did.
You know what I mean? Like
I was like, what
was that? Exactly. And especially if you a person that
for a 92-year-old, shouldn't they all be all loose and stuff? What?
I mean, that's what you think, right?
Yeah.
But you never know. I mean, it depends.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everyone's. I mean, honestly, the ICU. People say in the ICU, certain like rectal tones are different depending on if they have a flexi seal or different things. But
yeah.
I think we've reached our rectum quota for this podcast at least.
So should we move to vagina now?
Well, I want to get back to you and Mike as far as you're. I almost said dated. You're dating, but you're been married. High school sweethearts, is that correct?
We dated for longer than we've been married, so
really?
You can say dated.
So how long did you date for?
9 years.
You dated 9 years before you. Like, I don't want to say pull the plug. That's kind of like a wrong term for it.
We're nurses, so we totally pull the plug.
So, like, dated for 9 years before getting married.
Yes.
Okay. And then you're travel nurses, or at least you've done traveling, but what do you do now?
So we travel together always. Like, we both got travel nursing assignments, and then I got pregnant. And so then since then, I've been just being a stay-at-home mom and doing the like stay-at-home part of it.
Got it.
So doing the finances and the child raising.
That's awesome that you can spend all that time with your child during the like really important years, right? Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes they can drive you crazy.
Okay.
But
yeah. Well, tell me the
absolutely.
struggles that you have with that. I mean, what's the reality of that for you?
Well, when you travel nurse and you're just with we have a 2.5-year-old, it's hard because when I was in Indiana, you could get like daycares and play groups. But when you travel, it's so much harder. And I think a lot of people may struggle with that. They
Right.
do RV nursing for that reason, so they
Right.
can find that connection. So what we do to find that connection is we go to my son and I, we go to parks and we try to sign up for groups to
Got
get some sort of connection.
Right.
Because we want him to be maybe not normal, but somewhat normal.
So like right now, if I remember you saying before the podcast, you work a per diem gig. Is that correct? Are you still doing that?
I do work a per diem gig. I work 6 shifts every 3 months.
Okay.
And when I do that, because it doesn't pay much, but we go home to Indiana, and then he gets to see all of his family.
You can see all the family. You
Yes.
can see the whole crew, everyone that you know, in a sense.
Yes.
But at the same time, you get the chance to raise your child while Mike's working, and you're in beautiful Napa.
Yes. And he has been in preschool in Indiana's, and I actually have a lot of friends that are sending their children to kindergarten this fall.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, that's not what we want.
Right.
So we don't know what we're going to do in 2 years when he gets that kindergarten age.
Gotcha.
But we know it's probably not going to be that. So we think travel nursing for that. Because if it weren't for travel nursing, we would be doing exactly what we did as children. And we feel that hinders us a lot.
Got it.
I mean, it really pulled us back.
Right.
Being raised by the man.
So
Per se.
What are some of the challenges that you have being travel nurses and being a married couple? Like, I mean, like with all the logistics and going to different cities or going back home, what are some of the main challenges or the benefits? I mean, I guess you cover some of the benefits, but are there any challenges that you think of?
The biggest challenge is we cannot both work. And that's a huge hindrance to pay.
Because of your child? Is that the main?
It is because of our child, and because we can't, when you travel, you can't get necessarily a set schedule.
Gotcha.
And so when he's working 3 days a week, I can't get guaranteed that I'm going to be the 3 exact opposite, or that even if I get 3 exact opposite, do I want that? Because then I only get 1 day with my husband and my son.
Gotcha.
So there's a lot of hindrances to it.
Right.
But then there's a lot of benefits to it as well.
Now, here's a pretty deep question for you. All right.
Yes.
Would you tell your son, hey, do nursing, go into healthcare? Like, just do it.
I would probably not tell him to do nursing.
What? Really?
Mm-mm.
Why? Like, what about nursing or healthcare in general?
I think nursing is a great career path, but I think it's also a dead-end path. I mean, you can do a lot of things in nursing. I mean, I'm not saying he couldn't be a nurse practitioner or a PA or nurse manager, whatever. But I just think there's better things to be that may make less money. Okay. I mean, nursing's great for money. Right? Because you want to be able to pay for where you live. You want to be able to pay for health insurance, for food, for whatever.
Stability.
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay.
But for our son, because we want to give him more than our parents necessarily gave us, we want him to be more. We want him to be who he is. I think nursing kind of limits you on who you actually are as an individual.
What happens if he's like, this is what I want to do. Like, I want to take care of patients. And by the way, I appreciate you being completely honest. What happens if he was like, this is what I was made to do, is to be, a nurse? Like,
I would say go for it.
Okay.
And go for an associate's degree because it's so much cheaper going through the community college route.
Oh, initially, correct.
Yes. And then I would say, I will pay for that. Go for your dreams and, get your bachelor's later.
Now, you had a funny story about your grandmother. I remember overhearing before. What did she tell you?
When I was a child trying to figure out what I wanted to be in life, my grandma told me not to be a nurse.
Not to be a nurse, like straight direct, like,
straight up, do not be a nurse. And then she tried to tell me a horror story to deter me from being a nurse about this cancer and this breast and how this. I'm from a very conservative city, and she was like, this woman waited for her whole everything to be eaten out out before she did anything.
Yeah, she waited too late, right?
Yeah, way too late, way too metastasis. And I was like 7. That was my story.
Got it.
So
she was trying to scare you out of it completely.
She absolutely was, because she saw the route it was going, and she's like, don't be a nurse. But she didn't give me another direction.
Right.
My older brother became a nurse, and I guess I did by suit. Not by suit, but
it runs in the family.
Kind of.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I'm from a very small town, and you don't have a lot of direction from there.
So you think there's like lack of opportunity?
Yes.
And that nursing is kind of like that one thing that gives you that platform where you can kind of become independent.
I think a lot of people I graduated with, which some of them are nurses, and I'm like, nursing gave them that opportunity. Whereas I graduated 10 years ago this year.
Right.
And whereas other opportunities don't pay as much, don't give them respect. So nursing would be a great outlet if I were still in that city. Whereas like 7/8 of my class is still in that city. But for me as a nurse, I'm like, it's great. It's good.
So how did you end up meeting Ginger Mike? How did this all come about? Like from meeting Ginger Mike all the way to travel nursing?
Well, Ginger Mike.
By the way, I love that. Each time I hear that name, I just kind of like, really?
That's like his alter ego.
Yeah.
For me,
describe it. Yeah. Describe it. Go ahead.
So we're older. We've been together 13 years. I met him when he was 17. I was 16.
Uh-huh.
And at that time, he definitely had the alter ego as well.
Okay.
And I don't even know what his alter ego was. But anyways, we met at our first job at Long John Silver's. It always causes people to laugh out loud.
Yeah.
Like it is.
Do they still exist?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And the white trashes of America still go to them, including us. We are in that category. I'm not downing anyone.
No, I got you. Yeah.
I will totally be in the category of white trash America. I mean, I'm from Indiana. This is my life will be that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Just totally put me down a grade. I'm cool with that. But that's where we met. Everyone always asks if we met as nurses. And I'm like, no. I was 16 and he was 17. Like,
you went straight to nursing after high school?
I did.
And then what did Mike do?
He went to audio engineering because he was a musician.
A musician. Yeah? Whatever happened to the band?
He was in several bands.
Okay.
None of them really went anywhere. One of the ones that did go somewhere didn't really go too much anywhere. So he was happy to drop out. I mean, there's been some things he loves jamming. Like he just adores it. I mean, I do too, but.
Here comes a little one right now. He's interrupting. He has a flower in his hand.
That's him.
That's him. Yeah.
He loves nature, which is why we're going to be in California. But yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing and being completely honest in this podcast.
I could have been more honest.
Yeah.
But okay.
Yeah. What? Like in what way? Because I don't want to shut it off if you have something else to say.
No, in every way.
You don't feel like you're really completely just out there telling.
I just felt like I could have answered some really deep questions if you asked.
Really easy questions.
Deep.
Mm-hmm. All right. So you tell me. You tell me, because I feel
you're
like
having me do the job.
Yes, absolutely. You're holding back. So tell me like exactly.
You haven't asked me the question.
Oh, so I'm supposed to okay. Would you ever leave nursing just because?
Yes.
And why?
Well, I did leave nursing to be a mom.
Okay.
I would leave nursing again to do anything if I made enough money to support myself.
Got it.
But health insurance is really expensive.
So you're saying nursing is the only reason why you're, the only reason why you're staying in nursing is just because of health insurance?
I'd say for Mike, that's true. For me, it's kind of true.
She's throwing Mike underneath the, yeah?
Every time. No, but yeah, I do think so. I think if nursing, even when I became a nurse 7 years ago, it's changed so much.
Yeah.
And that was in Indiana, and I'm in California now.
Are you getting burnt out?
Yes. And I don't even work in nursing that much, and I get burnt out.
You're still burnt out, even
you
with
get
the per diem.
burnt out from the politics.
Okay.
It's not from the nursing itself. It's from like the politics of nursing. Absolutely.
And what about the politics of nursing is burning you out?
Just like I work in same day in this PACU, and when you do that, you only work with like 10 people in each unit.
Okay.
Like 10 people in same day, 10 people in PACU.
Got it.
And when I do that, it's very hard because you have to deal with the personalities. Like I love the job. Like I love same day and I love PACU.
Okay.
That's my favorite job I've ever done.
PACU.
But then, and same day.
Okay.
Like you get them ready for surgery
Okay.
and you get them after surgery. But I hate dealing with the other nurses because they're so like the nurses that get to that level and don't travel.
Right.
Because to get to same day, you don't get there doing traveling.
Right.
You know what I mean? You
No, I
get there
gotcha.
being a nurse being 40 years.
In the same
Yeah.
facility, right?
And most of them are just, they hate life. They hate their lives. And they will never admit that. And so you probably shouldn't post this, but they hate their lives.
I might post this. Yeah. The whole thing is that you got to be honest.
But they do. They hate their lives. Like, and I work that every day in Indiana. I'm like, even my bosses and stuff, I'm like, I mean, they do love their lives in some respects, but in other respects, I'm like, oh my God.
Now, do you only notice this in Indiana or a lot of places that you go to?
Yeah. When I was in California, I noticed it. When I was in Texas, I noticed it. And when I was in Hawaii, yeah, all of them. Yeah, I was trying to think of each contract. Yeah.
So you think it's a theme? Like, I mean, you notice the same pattern over and over?
Well, because the horizontal, like, hostility and, like, me, because I'm very, I'm more reserved. So you'll know, I notice more worse than others, but people will, like, go after me. And I'm like, I know what you're doing, but I won't fight back.
Right.
But I know what they're miserable is the point. The point is they're miserable. They wouldn't pick on me if they weren't miserable.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? And that's happened to me on quite a bit of contracts. And for me as an introvert, I'm like, I think it's hilarious
Right.
because I'm like, you're so miserable. Like you hate your life so much. But when you stay at a job for 20 years, what happens?
So let me.
You get elevated, right? You
yeah.
become a charge nurse. You become a manager.
Right.
That's what happens.
You change it up.
Yes. You get elevated.
Right. But do you feel like the nurse managers and the ones that are elevated are just as happy?
No. It depends on the job, what job I've worked, but most of the time it's a no.
Okay. So let me flip the script a little bit. What about the opposite? Do you meet people that are managers or people that have been like a nurse for 15, 20 years that are still happy? Like still happy with their job. They're just like, I mean, they don't have to be like naively happy, but I mean, they're just like. Sometimes?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah?
You seem a little like reluctant to say sometimes.
No, I think they are. I'm not going to deny that they can't be.
Okay.
I think if I wouldn't have met Mike, I would have been in that situation where I was 15 years at a job happy, but at the same time miserable and overworked.
Got it.
Because I didn't know there was other circumstances. Like I didn't know I could go to California and only have 4 or 3 patients.
Now, do you feel that burnout is changing? Or will change?
I think because of the unions and because of the mandatory ratios, it's a very high possibility that it could change.
Okay.
Because I know where I started working, which I think I could still work there if they had better ratios, because that's still, when I think of it, my favorite place to work.
Okay.
But the ratios were too high. And, but I think if they changed it like California ratios, that would be the whole Midwest, not just this one floor.
I gotcha.
Then I think more people probably would stay.
Gotcha.
Because they just don't pay them anything.
So how would you change your burnout? Like what things or policies, or it could be very broad, but what things you think will change? And it might not just be nursing, it could be other healthcare workers, but we're saying nursing right now.
I'll talk about nursing.
Yeah.
So I heard a few years ago, someone was talking that when they do a thing for nurses, their thing is $50. This is the Midwest.
Okay.
But they ratio a nurse for $50 an hour.
Okay.
Okay. So when they're paying a nurse $21, $25 an hour, where's the other $25 an hour coming from?
Okay.
Like I get they're doing they don't do a pension, but like they do a 401k match,
right.
And they do PTO and they do
taxes,
insurance.
right?
Taxes would be
Payroll
part of your.
taxes,
no, we
right.
pay the taxes,
Well,
but
there's some taxes on their side too.
I agree. Yes,
Okay.
yeah, but like same day or not same day, but like short-term disability, long-term disability.
Gotcha.
So, but $50 an hour was the thing for a nurse.
Right, for a full nurse.
Yes.
Right.
And
Gotcha.
I'm like, well, why am I only getting paid $21 an hour then? And at that point, when I was working at the hospital, the travelers were getting paid $45 an hour. And I was like, how is that at all fair? Like how, and I was very young and naive. And I was like, I just don't think that's fair. I don't think it's right. I have a very business mindset.
Are they paying those rates in the same state that you're being paid $21 an hour?
Yes.
Gotcha.
They pay them $39 to $45 an hour.
Okay.
Whereas they're paying the staff nurse $21 an hour.
So do you feel like a lot of the staffers are kind of hating on the travelers because like you're coming in, you're
This
making
was
more
a
money?
few years ago. That's the
Okay.
last time I worked as a staff nurse.
Okay.
And absolutely they were.
Okay.
Yeah. Because now I work as a per diem and we don't have travelers because I work in same day and PACU and we don't have any travelers.
Right.
So they just they get to pay their
Gotcha.
nurses' rates.
I'm kind of curious on the reason why, like, say, if you're talking about travelers in Indiana, was that what you're referring to?
Yes, I'm
okay.
talking about travelers in
Okay.
Indiana.
All right. Why are the hospitals?
That's what I want to know. I
Are
do.
people moving out? Like they just can't retain staff? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not from there.
But
I
the
don't know
thing is, they have a lot of staff because we have so many nursing schools.
Mhm.
So they do have a lot of staff. And that's why they can pay us that low,
Right.
which I know it's higher than that now, than 21, because no one works there. But some of them do. But what happens is they don't stay in the clinical setting. They move up. They move up into leadership and management roles.
Right.
Why wouldn't you?
Well, it
you
seems
know?
like the evolution of,
Yes.
you know what I mean? In that
So
career.
they either move up into leadership or management,
Well, see, I know
or
a lot
they
of
go
nurses that
travels.
don't want to do management. I know a lot of nurses.
Then they start traveling.
Well, that's true, and
Yeah.
I mean that happens a lot. Or they find a different career, or they find something. They might even go on the business side, or they can find an alternative career that's within healthcare that's not even nursing related. But I know a lot of nurses that don't want to do the management. They feel like it's like just a linear thing to do.
Yeah.
But it's not going to fulfill them.
I agree.
And I'm not taking away the ones that do. I'm just saying there's a
no,
lot
I
that
agree
don't,
because
right?
I've thought about getting my master's and I did teach at one point in
Right.
time, and I was like that. I always thought that's where I wanted to go, is to teach.
Right.
I did. I was like, I'm going to get my management in education,
Right.
or my master's in education, and then I did get to do it with my bachelor's, and I was like, no, that's not where I want to go.
Yeah.
So then I'm left with leadership and management, and I'm like, no.
Right.
And then I'm left with nurse practitioner. No.
You don't want to do nurse practitioner.
No.
What-
I have friends that do nurse practitioner, and I'm like, no.
Yeah. And what are the reasons for not doing the nurse practitioner?
I think it's just too much responsibility for only like 20,000 more a year, 30,000.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's a lot. Like
It's a lot of work too.
it is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think it's a great that they do it. Like it's so great, and it makes healthcare that much better. Like it should be cheaper for that reason, right? Like our
Right.
health insurance premiums for the nurse practitioners
Yeah.
and PAs, but
Right.
it's not. But I love them. Like our friend that's a nurse practitioner. I love her. But I wouldn't do it.
You wouldn't do it all.
No.
So don't do nursing.
Totally 100%.
I hear a little bit
what
of
I
your
said.
grandmother coming across. I'm like,
100%. No, nursing's great. It's just, and it does, and it only is increasing. I saw a study the other day that it's only going to increase.
it is.
And I agree with that. It should. My grandma retired, oh my God, 15 years ago, making under 20. She had been a nurse 40 years and was making under $20 an hour.
It's mind blowing.
I know, right?
It's mind blowing.
I mean, yeah, she had a pension and whatever, but it's like how far nursing has come.
right. Yeah, absolutely. And scales of economy too.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
true too,
yeah.
but it really hasn't risen that much as far as nursing has.
Gotcha.
Yeah, risen up. So I don't know. I love nursing and I love what it's given us. And sometimes I'm like, has it given me too much of a thing too much of a cush?
Right.
Yeah.
Like too much freedom a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So and it's like if you do something else, is it really freedom anymore?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it keeps you kind of attached.
I like it enough where it doesn't like ruin me like that.
Well, sometimes you have to take a break. I can see why some people do take a break from nursing. They have to. Yeah, I'm a big proponent of you have to take care of yourself before taking care of other people.
Yeah,
'Cause
totally.
if you don't take care of yourself, then you're not going to be any good to taking care of other people.
But I think a lot of nurses need to like heed to that more.
No, that's that.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to paint a broad like stroke and say that's the disease of a lot of nurses. You know what I mean? Because I don't know, But I see that a lot. I'm only talking from observation. So,
well, me from observation as well, from working different places as they do, because what happens is nurses take care of their patients and their families rather than taking care of themselves.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
And that's the big thing, because I feel like if they take care of themselves, they would take care of more.
Right.
Because I think that's the big change of me in the last year is that because I was always take care of everyone else, take care of my husband, like my baby.
Right.
But this year I've been like, take care of me.
That's good.
I'm a selfish little.
Well, Ginger Mike does take a lot of resources.
He does.
I could tell.
Oh my God. Does the carpet match the drapes? I don't know, but you take a lot of energy.
Y'all definitely belong to each other. I could tell. Thank you so much, Jessica, for coming on the podcast today. I appreciate you coming and talking the truth, your truth, and how you feel, and then being completely honest.
I hope I said, honestly, some stuff.
I think you did. We'll end there. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Jessica.
Peace out.
Thank you so much for listening to NSR, National Scrubs Radio, with your host, Derek J. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit Facebook and Twitter @NatScrubsRadio. We'll catch you next time.